This is the story of 3 puppies who go on a daring adventure. In a quaint little shelter nestled on the outskirts of town, there lived Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles. 3 endearing pups, each precisely 6 months old, sharing a unique bond that began under extraordinary circumstances. First among this trio is Draggles, a golden Labrador pup whose spirited personality mirrors the sun's radiant glow. With a shimmering coat that glistened like gold, his 6 months of life had been a whirlwind of exploration and curiosity, and he's always ready to embark on another adventure, his bright eyes filled with wonder. Scraggles, the second of the trio, boasts a sleek, black coat that makes him a striking presence in any room. At 6 months of age, he's a picture of endless energy and enthusiasm. Every day is a new opportunity for Scraggles to discover the world, his black fur glistening like a starry night sky, and his playful spirit radiating joy to all who have the pleasure of his company. Raggles, the third member of the trio, is a blue-haired Labrador with a coat as soft as the summer's breeze. Her appearance is as rare as it is captivating, her beautiful azure fur setting her apart from her peers. At 6 months old, Raggles combines her striking looks with a gentle, loving nature. Their journey began when they were discovered, mere days old, in a cardboard box left at the shelter's doorstep. The shelter's staff took them in, ensuring their well-being and nurturing them. For Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles, it's the only home they've ever known. They've grown up amidst the compassionate care of their shelter's volunteers. They've forged their friendships and shared their adventures in this safe haven, where kindness knows no bounds. In the heart of the shelter, amidst the camaraderie and warmth shared with their fellow residents, Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles found themselves in the company of the most kind-hearted individuals. The shelter staff and volunteers tended to their every need, ensuring that the young puppies' lives were filled with care and attention. However, amid the sea of kindness, there was a dark cloud that cast a shadow over their life. Her name was Janet, a mean old lady with a terrible cruel streak. Janet's actions were often unexplainable, as she was often mean to them for no reason, leaving the young pups bewildered and hurt. It was a stark contrast to the nurturing environment the shelter aimed to provide. One fateful day, disaster struck. A fire engulfed the shelter. Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles, like their fellow residents, huddled together in terror as the flames danced dangerously close. Janet, the last one out, looked back at the puppies, her face contorting into a wicked smile as she closed the door behind her. In their hearts, the pups clung to the belief that someone would come to their rescue. Their tails tucked in fear, and their trust in humanity remained unshaken despite the searing heat and the deafening roar of flames. Time passed agonizingly slowly, and their faith began to waver. They watched the inferno consume their home, their sanctuary, and with each passing moment, their hope flickered like a candle in a storm. The terrifying reality that nobody was coming to save them settled in, and their fear grew to an unbearable magnitude. Amidst the consuming fire and suffocating smoke, the pups clung to each other. Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles were not alone in their desperate situation. Their fate hung in the balance as they faced the most significant trial of their young lives. Then, fate granted them a mercy. One of the doors fell over in the fire, and smoke triggered the fire alarm. The cages opened and they made a run for it. Emerging from the building, they found themselves at the shelter's back entrance, a world away from the safety they'd always known. Before them sprawled the city, an unfamiliar and ominous vista. The sky, clouded by a mix of smoke and the city's usual grey haze, loomed overhead. With a sense of awe, the 3 pups hesitated only for a moment before they descended the fire escape, their paws cautiously navigating the metal steps. The adventure that awaited them was nothing short of extraordinary. The city streets buzzed with life, the noisy din of human activity and urban sounds enveloping them. Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles were embarking on an exploration that would introduce them to an entirely new world. Each step revealed unfamiliar sights, sounds, and smells. The towering skyscrapers loomed above, casting long shadows over the bustling sidewalks. Cars whizzed by, their engines humming, while pedestrians bustled about. The pups' sensitive noses picked up an array of scents: the aroma of street food, the metallic tang of the subway, and the earthy scent of parks and gardens. Their adventure unfolded with each corner turned, each encounter with a friendly passerby or a fellow canine. They marveled at the colourful storefronts, the vibrant graffiti adorning the walls, and the inviting parks that offered patches of green amid the concrete jungle. As they trotted through this urban wonderland, their senses were in overdrive, absorbing the symphony of city life. They encountered kindness from strangers who patted their heads and offered treats, making the pups feel like welcome residents of this bustling metropolis. Their city adventure had led Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles to a serene park, where the inviting scent of fellow dogs hung in the air like an unspoken promise. As they stepped onto a well-trodden path, they realized they had become completely disoriented. The city's maze-like streets had led them to a place unknown, their shelter and its familiar confines now a distant memory. But just as curiosity began to settle into a sense of unease, an encounter with a rather unwelcoming character shook their world once more. A fearsome Doberman, with a menacing growl, emerged from the shadows. The Doberman, with its imposing stature and assertive demeanour, wasn't in the mood for making friends. Instead, it decided to assert its dominance and gave chase, snarling and snapping at the three friends. The puppies sprinted for their lives. Panic gripped them, their hearts racing, their paws pounding the ground as they rushed through the park. In their desperation to evade their pursuer, Scraggles made a split-second decision, darting into a nearby hedge, seeking refuge amidst the prickly leaves and thorns. Raggles and Draggles, on the other hand, raced toward the park's gate, leading them out onto an unfamiliar street. The scent of their dear friend, though faint, wafted from the hedge where Scraggles hid to evade the menacing Doberman. While their quest to locate Scraggles continued, the Doberman remained a looming threat, his predatory gaze fixed upon the intrepid duo. His growls and bared teeth were a constant reminder that they needed to be cautious. After what seemed like an eternity of silent communication and teamwork, Raggles' keen nose caught a whiff of Scraggles' scent emanating from the hedge. He conveyed the discovery to Draggles in a soft, hushed whisper, ensuring the Doberman remained oblivious to them. Raggles and Draggles, their eyes locked onto the bush, devised a cunning plan to reunite with their friend. Raggles decided to divert the Doberman's attention. He stealthily moved to the opposite end of the park, preparing to execute their daring rescue operation. With the Doberman on alert, Raggles let out a dramatic howl echoing through the park. The Doberman, startled by the sudden commotion, turned to investigate the source of the noise. Raggles, fearless and quick-witted, called out, "Hey, you big meanie!" The Doberman, unable to resist the challenge, bolted in pursuit of Raggles, his menacing presence now directed away from Scraggles. The chase was on, and the Doberman, consumed by his predatory instinct, sprinted after Raggles. Seizing this golden opportunity, Scraggles, cowering in the bush, recognized his chance for freedom. Having run to safety, Raggles and Draggles watched in anticipation as their friend successfully made his escape from the park, avoiding the clutches of the fierce Doberman. Their daring plan had worked. With Scraggles safely outside the park, the three friends, now reunited, continued their remarkable adventure through the city, their hearts filled with the joy of reunion and the thrill of their escapade. As Scraggles dashed out of the park, leaving the Doberman behind, a kind old lady, whose eyes were brimming with compassion, witnessed the commotion. She couldn't help but notice that the three young dogs wore collars from a shelter she knew. Earlier that day, she heard on the news that the shelter, their former haven, was no longer standing. The lady recognized an opportunity to provide these three furry souls with a loving and forever home. Approaching the puppies, she knelt down to their level, her gentle smile reflecting the warmth of her heart. Her soothing voice and reassuring touch immediately put Scraggles, Raggles and Draggles at ease. They sensed that they had found a guardian angel, someone who would protect and love them for the rest of their days. Without hesitation, the kind old lady welcomed them into her life, her home and her heart. She adopted all three of them, celebrating their unique personalities and the extraordinary journey they had undertaken together. The once lost pups were now a cherished part of her family. They found the home they had always longed for, and together they created a happily ever after that surpassed even their wildest dreams. As for Janet, well, it turns out that she started the fire in the shelter because she was evil. Someone told on her, and the police caught her, and she spent the rest of her life rotting in jail. The end.